of people describe me as a Balky type.
Yeah, you're either a Larry or a Balky.
Yeah, I mean, you're one or the other. There's nothing wrong with being one or the other.
No,
it's just,
how the world works.
You're a Larry or you're a Balky. All right. Hello, everybody.
Oh, God.
This is Friday. It is our show Between the
must
Streams.
be Friday.
It is Friday indeed,
All right.
where we discuss all that is happening in the world of entertainment and streaming, movies and television, and everything going along with that. We've got a ton of things to get to today. We're going to go into a lot of reboots that are happening, which we'll explain in a little bit. And then
our plans for a Perfect Stranger.
Plans for a Perfect Stranger. We'll pitch you our script while we're doing this.
We've been working on that.
Really hard at this. And then we will also have some different discussions when it comes to Doctor Strange and some Marvel updates and all kinds of things that we're going to be getting to. And we want to hear your comments. So if you're watching via YouTube, please hop in there. Let us know what you want to talk about, what your thoughts are, and where we can go from there. I'm Greg Nibbler.
I'm Ryan Juanita.
And let's get to the first breaking news. The breaking news that we have.
Yes.
And it just
breaking.
came out. It just came out today. It broke.
Yeah.
And it has to do with the DC universe and their ever continuing attempts, to expand it, regardless of whether people want it. And it is Man of Steel 2 being announced.
Man of Steel 2, it's something that you would have expected to be an auto. In many ways, Man of Steel, the first one, was their best reviewed, and it also made quite a bit of money. And yet, it kind of fell off the map. And so, interestingly enough, today, Henry Cavill's new manager, Danny Garcia, who is the manager for Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, she has overseen his rise to, there's no other way to put it, superstardom. He literally is the highest paid actor in the world right now.
He was, I didn't realize that.
And he's like one of the biggest actors, if not, the biggest actor.
Oh, yeah,
it's
and he's in
crazy.
everything. He's got an HBO series.
And nobody doesn't like The Rock.
Movies. Yeah, that's true. It's hard not to
Hardest
like The Rock.
working man.
Yeah.
I
mean, I cannot like some of his movies, but I still like The Rock.
But he's good in them. He's got the charisma. Now, this has been a
question.
Like Tom Hanks. Does Henry Cavill have the charisma? Because Garcia went on to say in her interview with Newsweek about where she dropped the Superman news, she said, he's beginning to expand that the Superman movie is beautifully teed up, she says, and in a year from now or 2 years from now, Henry Cavill is going to be a force globally.
Really?
Now, I don't know if you've seen The Man from U.N.C.L.E. He's great in that.
I have not seen that.
A lot of people think he's a little too stiff in the Superman stuff.
He's really stiff in there. So
he's
I'm not
really
seeing a lot of
fun
charisma.
in The Man of Steel, though. In The Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Okay.
So we'll see. I don't know. I'm not crazy excited for Man of Steel 2, but Man of Steel 1 was okay.
Yeah, it was all right. I mean, I liked Michael Shannon.
Well, and I kind of described it as sort of a drab, highly destructive Superman that they that they showed in that.
Angsty Superman.
We all know that the colors were sort of Nolan-esque and instead of brighter, that, there was a whole thing about that.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It should be interesting, but we should also talk about the ridiculous slate of films that are possibly before Man of Steel 2 will come out, unless Man of Steel 2 ends up being one of the untitled DC films that's in the lineup.
Gotcha.
But next up we have Wonder Woman, which is out June 2017. That's the one that I think both of us are most excited about.
Yeah, and so far, I mean, just from everything
the
that's
trailers look good. Gal Gadot is, credible actress. I think it's going to be a good one.
Yeah.
Next up after that, we have Justice League, of course. Not as excited about that.
Justice League, and is everybody going to be a part of Justice League?
Well, we don't know about Superman because I don't want to give any spoilers, but there's a question about Superman.
Right, whether he's going to be a part of that.
Yeah, but there are, we know Aquaman's going to be a part of that, Wonder Woman's going to be a part of that, and there are several other heroes that could be teased into that. But those are just two movies. After that, we have a huge lineup, okay? So next comes Aquaman, July of 2018. Then
I like Aquaman myself, but I know Aquaman is made fun of quite a bit.
And, that was an Entourage thing they made. They kind of were joking. Like, I felt
Aquaman?
that, that Aquaman could be a huge blockbuster movie.
Yeah. Because, he controls fish.
Vinny becomes Aquaman, but James Cameron directs it, and that helps it get big or whatever. So we'll see how that one comes out. That's in 2018. Next up is an untitled DC film. For all we know, that could be Man of Steel, but
hard to say.
Yeah, hard to say. That's in October of that year. Then the Shazam movie.
Shazam's getting
2019. We have Justice League 2.
I love how they've already got Justice League 2. We don't even know how good Justice League is going to be.
Already coming, and that's in June of 2019. This is all courtesy of Screen Rant, by the way. This is their list.
So they've got this.
Hopefully it's accurate.
Well, there's a lot can change.
Yeah,
now and
exactly.
then, as of now.
Up next after that, just to finish, is an untitled DC film again in November of 2019, then Cyborg in 2020, the Green Lantern movie in July of 2020, then we don't know the releases, but then is also coming The Flash, the Batman solo movie, which we talked about last week with Deathstroke, then Man of Steel 2 somewhere in there. It's a lot of freaking movies.
That's a lot of movies.
And that's not even considering Marvel's side of that coin.
Right.
That's a lot of superhero
They're really
movies.
trying to go after Marvel for this. I wonder if there's going to get a point where we get a little bit burnt out on superhero
Well, we've been
movies.
talking about that for a year.
Yeah.
Like, how far can this go?
Yeah. I mean, so far, Marvel's movies have been great.
Yeah. But you can only do
there's going to be a clunker
one
in there
style
somewhere.
of things so long as well. I mean, the ebb and flow is, how movies work. So we'll have to see if superhero movies can grab the public's attention for this long. So far, so good.
Yeah, I mean, and there is one other movie too that has been pretty much confirmed, I guess.
Right.
And that is Margot Robbie with Harley Quinn is going to get her own movie.
Right, and that was the last one that I don't think we have a release date for that either.
No.
But she is going to be co-producing that.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
That is very cool. I am pro Margot Robbie. So
yeah,
I'll just leave
for
that
so
at
many
that.
reasons.
Yes, for so many reasons. She's very talented. So there we go. That's the breaking news that we got there. Man of Steel 2 confirmed, along with the slate of movies that we already know are coming out.
6 billion
DC movies. So let us know what you think about those, if you're excited about DC movies or not. We do have some Marvel updates that we're going to get to here in a minute. But before we do that, why don't we go ahead and do our weekend box office preview?
Yes.
And
there are movies.
Digital Trends actually on the website has an exclusive with the actor.
Yeah.
The star from this, which is Snowden, which is the big movie. Probably the most hyped movie of the weekend, would you think?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, it's that and the other big one is Blair Witch.
Yeah.
Which we also got an exclusive interview on that.
Perfect. So
yeah.
digitaltrends.com, that's where you need to be.
Yes.
After this.
That's right.
While you're already here, you're watching this, and then go read that.
Yeah, so we
Snowden.
interviewed Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and also our own Rick Marshall reviewed the movie. And contrary to sort of the overall, the Rotten Tomatoes, the Metacritics, they're pretty lukewarm on it, but he enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And he especially enjoyed Joseph Gordon-Levitt's performance in it. He said it was really good. He said it's definitely not one of Oliver Stone's best, to which I answered, yeah, but we haven't seen Oliver Stone's best for about 2 decades now.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. He's one of those massive talents that's been devolving a little bit over the years, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But anyway, apparently the movie is pretty fun to watch, especially for Gordon-Levitt's performance.
I mean, he's a great actor.
And you and I have talked about this.
Yeah. Watching it takes, maybe in the movie, I'm sure I could get into it. But
Yeah,
watching
I
the
think that's the
trailers-
problem, is that we're not in the movie. The trailer's a little different.
Yeah, and I just see him, it looks like he's in a Halloween costume dressed as Edward Snowden, nailing it.
It feels
by
a
the way.
bit like he's
Definitely
doing
win the
like
costume
an
contest.
SNL Edward Snowden impersonation. It's very
it's
like
jarring.
he studied the tape over and over
Yeah.
again, which is fine. It's just, I mean, some actors try to bring their own thing to it, and just like
He's trying to become.
it's me being Snowden, but he's like becoming Snowden.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and maybe, like I said, the
As far
review
as
is good,
Rick
so
Marshall is concerned, he thought it worked quite
good review.
well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of talented actors actually in it. I mean, Zachary Quinto is always great.
There's a
Shailene
huge
Woodley,
cast for this. Yeah,
Timothy
Nicolas
Oliphant.
Cage. Yeah.
Yeah, Nicolas Cage, which I'll watch anything. I'm a Nicolas Cage guy.
I'm a Cage guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I think Nicolas Cage can be polarizing.
Well, that's because Nicolas Cage can be horrible.
Oh, yeah, that's
But
true.
he can also be really fantastic.
Okay, what about Kevin Costner?
Yeah, I like Kevin Costner.
Okay, good.
He's all right.
Kevin Costner, too. He's not in this movie.
You
that
should
I'm
do
aware of.
Kevin Costner for Halloween sometime.
Oh, yeah.
You could do some Costner.
Oh, I could get the hair going, yeah. I've got kind of the Michael Landon hair happening right now. That could work for
Michael
Kevin
Landon.
Costner.
That's
yeah.
the kids
It's a
aren't
little
gonna
bit-
know.
it's gotta go a little bit
Kids
longer.
aren't gonna know that
What?
one.
You don't like your Michael Landon references? I'm a Family Guy.
Little House on the Prairie.
All right. Other movie coming out this weekend. And this, as you were saying, is also kind of equally hyped, I guess. Blair Witch.
This is
Blair
the other
Witch
big one.
returns. Now,
Also getting sort of middling reviews. This is
guy who uploaded
it's
this
a
video
sequel.
said it was
They're
from a
counting
tape
this
he
as
found in
the
the Black
sequel.
Hills
Now there already
forest.
was a sequel, but it wasn't a found footage sequel, which is interesting. I actually didn't mind that movie. It's actually kind of messed up because the people they shot it traditionally, but the storyline for the original sequel, which I think they did in 2000, was these people get together and they think they're having a good night, and then they go back to the footage and they've been doing all these horrible things without knowing about it, which is like always kind of a psychological mess with your head type
do you
movie.
ever worry about that?
I don't, but I don't like to think about
Yeah.
whether your reality is real
Yeah.
or not. I mean, I think all of us have trouble with
Dude.
that. So that movie kind of messes with that, which
Truman
is
Show, man. That's mine.
its own
All right.
thing. But this is, of course, going back to the found footage thing.
Yeah.
And as we saw in the trailer, I think the bottom line is it's really retreading sort of the same ground.
Okay.
They've updated it. We actually did an interview with James Allen McEwen, who is really the main star of the movie. And there are now, I think there's 6 people that go into the woods looking for his sister. That's the storyline. Heather,
Okay.
who is the one who's the star in the original movie.
Okay.
He goes looking for his sister in those same woods. And so the guy so James Allen McEwen said that it was really scary, like being out there at night, and he was talking about the technology they used. One of the interesting things that he said is that about 80% of the last part of the film where he's in it, it's him filming it. Because they all had
really?
cameras strapped to them.
Okay.
Because they're filming,
Yeah,
their
first
own
person,
movie.
yeah.
Now, the original movie was made for $60K. This one was made for $5 million. But the original, I think, made $40 million or more. Maybe,
yeah,
I think it was more than that. Yeah,
was
they
a
made
huge
like a lot of
success.
money off of a $60,000 budget. And
Yeah.
that brought on the entire found footage
Yeah,
genre.
It is. I mean, that's why I think this might be kind of a victim of their own success.
It
Because
could be.
They started this whole thing, but now there's been so many different movies of paranormal activity and tons of found footage movies.
Yep.
Is
think-
this just kind of just another found footage one? I mean, is it going to really break it?
And I haven't seen
genre
it,
that
but it
much, or-
seems like what you see is what you get.
Yeah.
If you want another ride on the Blair Witch train,
There you
that's
go.
probably what you're
I
going
mean,
to get here.
I've watched all the paranormal activity movies, and it's
Yeah, you're a
pretty much
fan
the
of that
same
stuff.
thing. Yeah, I mean, it's got its moments. You know what you're getting into.
Yep.
Like there's an invisible. What is it? Toby, I think, is the invisible monster. Anyway.
Yeah.
Spoilers. But yeah,
Toby.
it's fun.
Yeah.
Fun stuff to watch, but you know what you're getting.
Yeah, I mean, and let's also say that while it's hovering around 40 to 50% on Rotten Tomatoes and Metacritic, let's also say that horror movies are often panned,
Yeah.
even good ones. You
True.
know, I mean, I think horror movies are a little bit more subjective. If you're really into them,
You're gonna go watch it.
you're
anyway.
probably gonna like them.
Yeah.
And
And
for
if
the
you-
most part, unless it's just terrible.
Right. If you're
Yeah.
looking for some groundbreaking,
Yeah.
movie that's gonna change your life, it's probably not gonna be.
And
a horror
comedies are kind of the same way. You're not getting
Yeah.
Oscar contenders.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get to the third movie that I'm excited about. The one I'm actually excited about.
Yes, you are. Yes,
Yes. 8 days a week.
Yeah.
The Beatles, 8 days a week. And this is really cool. Ron Howard made it. He's not much of a doc guy usually, but they dug up a lot of footage from the early years. It's from 63 to 66, in which the Beatles did around 900 performances.
Wow.
In those 3 to 4 years.
Damn.
That's insane.
That is a
now
lot of
we all know
performances.
after that they quit. They stopped performing forever. They went back into the studio. They came up with Sgt. Pepper, and the rest is history, right? But this is kind of those early years, the early music. I've heard there's a lot of music in this one, so that's what
Yeah.
makes it fun. There's some interesting interviews with Paul McCartney and Ringo, of course, but lots
Mm-hmm.
of other people on the entourage and people that were affected by it. So I think it looks really fun.
It does actually look really interesting.
And
I
it
mean,
looks like it's really well made, too,
yeah,
of course.
Yeah,
So.
and a lot of stuff. Even in the trailer, you're seeing definitely a lot more of their personality and behind the scenes kind of things.
Yeah, I mean, there's this
John
great
Lennon messing with the reporter and
Well, and the reporter, my favorite part of the trailer is when they ask John, why do they scream?
Yeah.
And it's one of the reasons they had to quit touring, just because they couldn't even hear the music anymore. What's
Yeah.
the point if it's just going to be screaming? And they asked John Lennon, he goes, I don't know. Couldn't tell you. He's just fed up with it, as all of them were. And they went through one of the craziest things that any band ever has,
Yeah.
and came out of it with some of the most influential music that any band has ever created. So,
yeah.
it's going to be
Absolutely.
a good movie.
So there we go. Those are your weekend box office preview. Taking a look at that. We still have a bunch of things to get to here.
So much.
Coming up, we're going to be talking about the new Doctor Strange, some new things with Doctor Strange.
Some extra footage they
Extra
put out.
footage, yeah, that we'll find out about that. Some new content from ESPN, a Tupac movie. And before we get to all that stuff, though, let's do this. We all know reboots and remakes are happening left and right. They're just happening all the time right now.
Yep.
And whether you like it or not. And there are a bunch of ones that are getting brought back up now, whether it's sequels or reboot, or
Yep.
it's been long enough you can almost call it a reboot. And
So we're
kinda
calling
have-
this our reboot recap
Yeah.
segment. New segment.
new segment, reboot recap.
We're gonna have to come up with some music for it or
Yeah,
something.
we will. Yeah.
Put that in post.
I'll put that in. I'll put
All
some
right.
soft piano music underneath this.
Yeah. So I just wanted to collect a few of these that are coming out. A couple of them are coming out next week, so I
Yeah.
thought I'd give a little preview. And one of which is Lethal Weapon.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if you're a fan of this original franchise. I
all right,
was.
yeah.
1 and 2 especially are, to me, sort of seminal in the buddy cop movie franchise. Interestingly enough, side note, my girlfriend and I watched 48 Hours. She'd never seen it.
Yeah.
I'd seen it, but it had been a long time. And that was, I think, 1981 with Nick Nolte, Eddie Murphy.
Very racist.
It is very racist. That is very true. But it does so on purpose, of course, to sort of like bring it out to the forefront. But what's really cool about that movie is it sort of invented the buddy cop genre.
Right,
They've
absolutely.
got the yelling commissioner.
Yep.
And you know, it easily could have been a crappy movie.
I want your badge.
Yeah, exactly. But Nick Nolte is great in it. Eddie Murphy is fantastic in it. The two of them together have a lot of chemistry.
Right.
That, I think, spawned Lethal Weapon. I mean, Lethal Weapon
agree,
came after, so, you know, everything that came after.
It did start that whole genre.
But Lethal Weapon was great. It was really fun. It was Mel Gibson at his best, Danny Glover. And so I have a hard time trying to see this come into a television show with Damon Wayans
And not Damon
as
Wayans
Murtaugh.
Jr. It's Damon Wayans.
No, it's actually Damon
Actual
Wayans.
Damon
And he's
Wayans.
put on some weight. This
Yeah.
dude is looking a little different than
Well,
last
he's
time you
gotta
might
be-
have seen him on TV.
He's got to be getting up there.
He's got to be in his 50s, right?
Oh, yeah. I would think older than that even, maybe.
And the other guy is Clayne Crawford, and he plays Riggs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dang it, Riggs.
Yeah, so Clayne Crawford, I don't know if you know about this guy. He had some success early on. He was in A Walk to Remember.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like a pretty big, you know, like romance movie.
Yeah.
And then he kind of bounced around to TV shows like CSI and 24, doing sort of, you know, walk-on gigs there. So this is kind of his big comeback. Okay, I'm predicting 1 season for this bad boy.
1 season. That is your prediction. Ryan's prediction.
I did see a
1
good review of
season.
it recently. They said it
Okay.
was fun. Oh, no, that was a different. Sorry, that was MacGyver. That's right. I haven't seen a good review for this one. But speaking of which, let's get on to our next one.
Yeah.
And both of these are coming out next week. This is Lethal Weapon is September 21st on Fox. And then the next one coming out is MacGyver on CBS.
MacGyver.
That's
Now,
September 23rd. That's the reboot of MacGyver. So.
I was a big fan of original MacGyver.
Yes.
You know, and especially, you know, his mullet right there.
Yeah.
Classic.
Richard Dean.
I mean, that is the epitome of everything that is awesome.
I mean, he was, you know, let's be honest, some of those shows do not hold up if you go back and watch them.
Yeah,
but they're fun.
I have my memories.
They're fun.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, he takes a paper clip and a rubber band and he makes a bomb. That's
Yep,
pretty much
he
how
does
it
some
works.
cool stuff.
Yeah, there he is. There he is with the bomb. So MacGyver, and you know Richard Dean Anderson and all that ended. I don't know what in the 80s, early 90s, something like that.
Yeah, he went on to Stargate SG-1.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yep.
Now this reboot. Is it supposed to be like his son, or do they ever
No,
address that?
no.
Okay, so it's just a
I
brand
thought
new
that at first, yeah.
MacGyver series.
Yes.
With a kid without a mullet. Number one, that is one of my big contention.
He's
my big issues.
mullet-esque.
Esque,
He-
but I mean,
he
come
dabbles.
on, that's not a MacGyver needs to have a mullet. That's
Yeah,
just,
I mean, I've let my hair grow. I'm almost to that, to his
You're
mullet
going to
status.
MacGyver
Yeah,
status.
not quite MacGyver. I'm almost to new MacGyver status.
okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, Lucas Till, who was in a movie called Monster Trucks.
Monster trucks.
It's about an alien that like makes trucks magical.
Oh, sweet.
It's very CGI.
Yeah.
Very heavy on the
An
CGI.
alien that makes trucks magical.
Yeah, look it up.
Okay. What was the name again?
Monster Trucks.
Monster. Okay. Well,
Yeah,
Of course, yeah.
see what they did there?
Okay.
And then George Eads, who's from CSI.
I will look that up, by the way.
George
I'm
Eads is
making
from
a note of that right
CSI. And yeah, we had an interview with these guys. It seems like it could be, you know, fun or whatever. From what I gather from the previews is that it's sort of like a Mission Impossible meets MacGyver. Now, MacGyver was a lone wolf for most of
Yeah.
the show. Like
Yeah.
he had his buddy Jack Dalton that would help him out.
Right.
Jack
He's in a
Dalton used to
jam.
wink when he lied. You remember that?
Oh yeah.
He was a pilot.
Yeah.
Okay, so the new Jack Dalton is like a weapons expert, like badass, who's
Yeah, all right.
always with him. He also has like a tech person,
No,
a
MacGyver
girl,
doesn't work on a
girl
team.
who's like I know he's a lone
No,
wolf.
yeah.
So they're sort of mixing in the Mission Impossible
No,
thing with this. I
I
don't know.
disagree.
We'll see how it works. I'm not super. You know, I guess let's put it this way. I would normally predict this to probably not do so well, but CBS, man, it's
Yeah.
hard to predict what's
Yeah.
going to hit on CBS. Like they are still nailing it with the multi-camera sitcom.
That's true.
You know, Two and a
That's
Half
true.
Men.
Maybe this is what people are wanting. They want the new MacGyver. I mean,
It's
if
hard
they-
to say.
Excuse me. If they do it well, great. But that's another one that's getting rebooted. So that's out next week.
Yes.
You can watch this. Okay, September 23rd. Yeah.
And side
New
note, my
MacGyver.
parents go to church with folks who are good buddies with Richard Dean Anderson.
What?
Yeah. He actually paid for some friends of ours, their daughter's college.
What?
Yeah, because he's a good guy.
You know Richard Dean Anderson or your
I
parents
do not know him. My parents know people who know him.
Oh my God, we need to get Richard Dean Anderson in here.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah, I want to hang out with him.
I
Have a
would
beer
love
with
to hang out
MacGyver?
with MacGyver.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, we need to make that happen.
Sidebar.
Call up your parents' friends.
All right, a couple other reboots coming. Of course, we know the Gilmore Girls: A Year in the Life is coming to Netflix in November.
Dude, I think that is
Not really a reboot here. This is more like a
it's like 5 years
comeback.
afterward.
Yeah, I'm not even
Or
sure.
I don't even know how many years it's supposed to be in the series.
original stars.
That
are
is
in
going
it.
to be huge.
It is. And now, just quickly to explain that one, it's supposed to be them in 1 year of their life exploring 4 seasons. Yeah, it's going to be lovely with the trees turning and all that.
Where you go.
And then,
I
of
should
course,
admit I
there
know
is 24 Legacy. Wow,
24
did you watch Gilmore
No,
Girls?
no, I have no idea what you're
I
talking
think
about.
you do.
I don't know what you're talking about, and that's a lie, and we're going to take that out of the podcast. I've never seen an episode of Gilmore Girls
We're live, Greg.
in their little town.
And then, of course, there's 24 Legacy. This one might be the coolest one out of the 4, in my opinion.
Okay.
Stars Corey Hawkins from Straight Outta Compton.
Who is he in?
Good actor. I think he plays Dre.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Good actor. Jimmy Smits is in it. You know, 24 is 24. It
Yeah.
doesn't have Jack Bauer, and that's what everybody's upset about because
Yeah.
Jack Bauer has moved on.
Well, Jack Bauer is now.
He's
in
now
going to
be the
series.
president.
Yeah, he's the president.
Yeah, Kiefer
Yeah.
Sutherland.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that series looks interesting too.
It looks kind of like 24.
It kind of does.
Yeah.
In that series, everyone dies, and then he becomes the president.
Yeah.
Basically. Yeah,
It's Kiefer Sutherland saving the world. That's what he does.
that's true. He does save the world.
But not in 24 Legacy. He is not a part of that.
That's true.
Okay.
The last one, Prison Break. Again,
Yeah.
not a reboot. It's called Prison Break sequel.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know when it's coming out. It's coming out in 2017. The original stars are returning. We got Wentworth Miller and Dominic Purcell,
Okay.
who are right now doing a bunch of superhero stuff with the CW.
Oh, okay.
Greg
oh, yeah, for like
Berlanti's-
Arrow and
Yeah.
yeah.
Which I dislike.
You dislike Arrow.
All of those shows.
Okay, all of them.
But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
All right.
So that's your reboot
there's-
recap, you guys.
Yeah, and there's
Let
there's
us know what
more
you
of
think
that.
on those.
Yeah, and if there is one that you want to see rebooted, let us know what that is in the comments. I mean, as I said, Perfect Strangers at the beginning of the show. That's the one I'm going.
That's the one that we're putting together.
That's what we're hoping.
We're
for.
pitching,
Yeah, we're pitching
to a couple of networks.
Perfect Strangers 2. All right. Let's see. Let's move on here to a couple of other topics. Did you want to talk about the Dune and Blade Runner? Or
Well, just that Dennis Villeneuve, that's what I'm calling him. I don't know if that's the right thing. He is
We
the
make up our
director
own
of Sicario. He's also the director of the really cool sci-fi movie Arrival.
okay.
Well,
yeah,
it
which
looks
is coming
cool.
out.
Yeah, it hasn't come
With,
out, but it looks
Amy
really
Adams.
cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's based on a very, very popular sci-fi novel. He revealed this week that his lifelong dream is to remake Dune. And this dude is one of the hottest directors in Hollywood right now. Like, he's getting kind of everything that comes his way. So we could see a Dune remake somewhere down the line. He said the biggest problem is trying to get the rights.
Oh yeah, I would imagine.
For those who don't know, David Lynch made that first Dune movie.
Did he?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
That's why it's so freaking
I was
weird.
just talking about David Lynch today.
Yeah.
Okay.
So David Lynch made that first one, and then there were a couple of like mini-series things based on, I think, the other books
yeah.
in
uh-huh.
like 2000, 2003, but we haven't seen Dune since then. So I
It's-
don't know. I know
it's
that will
probably-
excite a lot of people if that comes to fruition.
Yeah, or
especially
anger
with
some
this
people, too.
director. Yeah, I suppose that's true.
But everything gets remade.
I
so-
mean, they're probably not going to get Sting for this one. And
I'm
that's,
gonna guess.
That's really the problem.
Oh, he'll be in a cameo. He'll do
That'd
a
be
cameo.
awesome.
Totally.
I would love that.
All right. Let's talk about the new thing we have here from Doctor Strange.
Sure, we can show a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit, some more tidbits. Now, this movie is coming out later on this year, and it does. I am actually really excited about this movie.
I think the only thing really to say about this featurette, which you can find on our site,
Yeah.
is that it shows a little bit more footage. It gets a little bit more behind the scenes. Really, it just makes me a little bit more excited. Every
Yeah.
time I see something from this film, we'll see how it goes narratively, but as far as the sights and sounds, it looks spectacular.
And it's like the storyline that I mean, it's not a whole lot of new storyline in
Right.
this thing, of course, but it's more and more looking a lot like Fringe, like the television series Fringe.
Right, which I have not seen.
You haven't. Okay, that's going to be my Between the Cracks at some point. Not this week,
Yeah.
but next week.
Okay.
Fantastic show, but definitely along the same lines, different dimensions, and that's not really spoiling anything.
Sure.
But yeah, it's Fringe-esque if you've watched Fringe.
Well, and of
So-
course, it's based on the comic book, so
Yeah.
who knows if Fringe took the comic
well,
book idea.
I don't think the idea of parallel worlds isn't that nobody has
that's
that.
a pretty big one.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, looking at it, and this is a good thing. This is a huge compliment. I'm
Right.
saying, like, it looks great.
Well, and just visually, it also looks very Inception-esque.
Yeah, Inception.
Which is going to be fun to see them toy with the worlds.
Right.
With different cities folding on top of each other and like punching through like different universes. It looks like.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a really fun movie.
I think it's going to be a big one. I don't think people are quite. As pumped for it as they will be once it comes out. It's kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy.
It's not an Iron Man or a Thor. It's
even
a new
Iron Man
character.
was like surprisingly. I think once this hits, it's going to be a bigger hit than people are predicting.
So there we go. Another little thing from Doctor Strange. All right. I think we need to bring this up just before we get into the Tupac movie, and then we're going to talk about the Emmys here coming up as well. And as we said,
we'll have some Emmy predictions for you.
Emmy predictions, and we are live on YouTube right now. If you're watching there, so you can go ahead and hop in there and give us your comments and let us know what you think. We got to bring this up just because it is television. We talk about television,
and
we
so weird.
tend to not talk about sports as often on this show.
Yeah,
but this. I hesitate to call this a sport, but it is on ESPN, and it's a new deal that ESPN has signed with the Drone Racing League. That is the drone.
The DRL.
The DRL, man. Yeah.
Put it on the DRL, yo. I don't know.
Oh, God. Wow. I might bleep that just for you, honestly.
Is that a thing? I don't even know.
I don't know. on the DRL. So the Drone Racing League.
I feel like they're trying to turn drones into NASCAR here. That's like the bottom line.
Yeah. And so it's an actual league.
It's going to be 10 episodes chronicling the whole thing.
The thing is, the way it works, these guys put on basically VR goggles so they see through the eyes, through the drone, the camera of the drone, and then they fly it around an obstacle course. And as far as I know, that's it.
Are they all on the course at the same time? Are they just doing time trials?
I don't know. And I guess the ESPN is going to put out some kind of like an intro to drone racing league. Yeah, so that's going to be happening on, I believe, next Thursday. I'm not sure the exact date, but they are going to put out something so you can kind of get to understand how drone racing works.
I think that actually might have already aired.
Did it already?
I think it aired Thursday.
Okay. So you can probably get to find that online. Yep. But yeah, Drone Racing League coming to your ESPN.
Yeah, and the
soon.
season begins on the 23rd of October.
Okay.
If you're excited about, I don't know. What's really going to happen is these guys are going to be recruited by the government like really quickly to go and spy on people and drop bombs. Oh. That's my guess.
I'm a little more interested.
Some of these stars are, if they're really that good at flying drones, they probably have a future somewhere.
You might not be wrong on that. All right,
we'll see.
There's the news on that. Let's talk about another trailer that we got this week before we get into the Emmy stuff.
Yeah, now I thought this was really cool. I thought this was really interesting. Those of us who kind of grew up in the 90s, Tupac was a big, big thing.
Tupac's still the greatest rapper of all time, as far as I'm concerned.
I disagree. I think B.I.G. is the greatest rapper of all time. But then again, there's the beef.
Yeah.
That was the whole thing, right?
I mean, there's really no wrong in any of that. No,
and Tupac was incredible. So this movie, it's called All Eyes on Me, and we saw the trailer. It's still like a teaser, but it was intense. It was violent. It was sort of gritty. The dude playing him definitely has a look. He can do it.
Yeah, he's got the look.
I think it's you're going to easily fall into believing.
Right.
That he's Tupac, and it should be really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think with the success of Straight Outta Compton, this is about time that this happened. There's already the Biggie movie that came out, and actually, Biggie's son, who plays him in what is the name of Notorious?
Right.
He's also playing Biggie in this movie. In Tupac.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. Now, I wonder if the studios combined on that or how that worked out or if they just, recruited him.
Be like, I mean, who else can play him better than
That's a good point.
That's like a movie about Ice Cube without Ice Cube's son now. You have to get him.
Speaking of which, Ice Cube came to town a couple of weeks ago, and his son is touring with him.
Yeah.
And every time that he introduces his son, he says, "This is my son," and then says his name every single time.
O'Shea Jackson Jr.
O'Shea Jackson Jr. Give it up for my son, O'Shea Jackson Jr. Every time, my son, O'Shea Jackson Jr. It's pretty fun to see him on stage together. But I think you can't have a Tupac movie without Biggie, and this movie looks really interesting.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing some more from this.
And for those who don't know, Tupac went to prison for sexual assault. He was arrested multiple times, which of course he said he did not do. It was a woman that he had a relationship previous, and then claimed sexual assault later. Then he was arrested multiple times for like assault and gunfighting, which was dropped. He was shot 5 times a week before he went on trial.
They stole jewelry, right? I believe from him. I think at one
yeah,
point,
that could have been. He was mugged. Yeah. Anyway, it's a fascinating story.
It really is.
Whether you like him or not, it's fascinating.
Yeah.
So it should be a good movie.
Absolutely. So Tupac movie. All right. Let's do our Emmy predictions since that is coming up this weekend.
Let's
We've
do
got
it.
a couple here.
Yeah.
To kind of round it out. If you have any,
we're taking some predictions on the bigger ones.
Yeah, and I admit I do not follow everything that comes on here.
Some of these shows, are a little bit more under the radar. You can't watch everything.
Yeah.
There's so much TV.
It's very true.
If we tried to watch it all, we wouldn't be able to leave our houses.
Very true. Absolutely. Before we do that, just a couple of quick questions. I forgot to get to these
okay,
here from the live chat. Will says, thanks for recommending Wrecked. You're welcome. Wrecked is really great. It is a fantastic
It's really
show.
fun.
It definitely was worth streaming. Any other recommendations? There's a lot out there. I would say, for me right now, Narcos is really what I'm into. But that's
Mr.
it's not a
Robot,
comedy.
if you haven't gotten into it, it's the first season's on Amazon. It is spellbinding. It's really, really intense and really fun to watch.
Fantastic. Yeah, great. And we'll kind of come up with some more. Maybe next week we'll get some more.
Yeah, we'll have another Between the Cracks next week, and we'll have more stuff for
Yeah. Cool. All right. So Emmy predictions.
Yeah. So let's just start with Best Drama. Speaking of Mr. Robot.
Yeah. Which
I
think
it's going to win.
Okay, so it's Mr. Robot, The Americans, Game of Thrones, House of Cards, Downton Abbey.
It's a tough
Better
field.
Call Saul and Homeland. That
is a really tough field.
But you think Mr. Robot's going to come out on top on that?
I do. I mean, you never know how these things go. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's a popularity contest. Sometimes the voting is mysterious. But I just think that Mr. Robot was the most enthralling drama that came out in that period.
Definitely have seen it getting the most hype.
It has gotten a lot of hype. I don't know if a lot lot of people have seen it or enough people have seen it, but yeah, check it out on Amazon. The first season's there. It will get you hooked.
Okay, well, let's keep score. You said Mr. Robot.
Mr. Robot
we're
for
gonna,
Best
We're
Drama.
going to grade you next week on these.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
All right, so Best Comedy. So we've got
Best Comedy.
Silicon Valley, Modern Family, Master of None, Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, Black-ish, and Veep.
Yeah, and the only one I haven't seen is Blackish because I don't watch a lot of network TV. I've heard
Yeah.
good things. I'm not that crazy about most network sitcoms.
I'm the
But
same
I'm
here.
going to go ahead and call Veep on this one.
You're going with Veep.
I'm going with Veep. Silicon Valley's last season was a little weak. I still thought it was good. But I think
You're
Veep
right.
their last season was pretty much phenomenal start to finish.
It was really good. I am going to disagree. I think Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt gets it this year.
I love Unbreakable
Yeah.
Kimmy Schmidt, too. And that was my secondary pick, so a good one as well. I think that's definitely a safe choice. I'm going to go with Veep.
Okay.
Veep has, they've taken it before.
It's a really, really good show. All right, Best Actor in a Drama. We've got Robots, Rami Malek, or Malik. I don't know how to say his
Rami
name.
Malek, I believe, yeah.
Kyle Chandler from Bloodline, Bob Odenkirk, Matthew Rhys from The Americans, Liev Schreiber from...
Liev Schreiber, I mean, yeah.
What am I blanking on? I love the show.
Ray Donovan.
Ray Donovan, thank you. And Kevin Spacey from House of Cards.
Yeah, I'm gonna call Rami Malek.
You're just really going for the... Mr.
I
Robot.
just think that he plays someone who's got mental issues, who's also like a genius. And that's tough to do. There are a lot of ins and outs to his role. I don't want to give too much away, but I think he's going to win. I also think that Ben Mendelsohn is a safe bet. Or sorry, Kyle Chandler is a safe bet for Bloodline. I think
he's really good in it. He is really good in it. I mean, that's a tough cast of characters to go
I think
against.
Bob Odenkirk could
could
get it too.
Also, Bob
Better Call
Odenkirk
Saul is
so good, and he's great in that. That is a tough one. All right, so Best Actress, you've got Tatiana Mosley. And
now this is what I hope will happen.
Okay.
I don't know that this is a good prediction.
She's from Orphan Black.
She's from Orphan Black. She's been playing multiple roles for 4 seasons. She's just a phenomenal actress.
So it's her against Kerry Russell from The Americans, Robin
Which
Wright.
I have not seen. I haven't seen The Americans, and you're a big fan, so
huge fan of The Americans.
I could be missing something there. Maybe Kerry Russell has something that that I'm not
The
seeing.
Americans, and I'll say this because her co-star and I believe her husband in real life, Matthew Rhys, they the whole premise of the Americans is they play Russian spies
Right.
in America, so they're always undercover playing different characters.
So there's a
trying to
lot of acting within the
infiltrate-
acting.
Oh yeah, playing all kinds of different people. They have
Kind of
different
similar in a different
separate
way to Tatiana's.
wives and like families. That
Oh,
they-
wow.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. So yeah, kind of similar to that, playing a lot of roles. I
Yeah.
could see her getting it too. But all right, so there we go. That's for the best actress.
There you go.
Best supporting actor in a drama.
And on this one, I'm going to pick Ben Mendelsohn.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, and mostly because I feel like if Disney grabs you and puts you in a Star Wars film, then they know what's up.
Yeah.
Like, Disney knows what's up.
Ben Mendelsohn. If you haven't seen Bloodline, if you have seen it, he's Danny from Bloodline.
Yeah.
And he is fantastic in Bloodline. He's so good. You hate him, but you like him at the same time. He's a really, really good actor, very talented, and yeah, now going to be in the Star Wars movie playing the villain there.
Yeah.
He's a good villain, man. The
I
guy
think
is
he's going to
great.
do a
Yeah.
great job
Yeah.
in the Star Wars.
So he's up against Jon Snow, Peter Dinklage,
Jon Snow.
Jonathan Banks.
And Peter Dinklage could take it. I
Yeah.
mean, Peter Dinklage is always phenomenal. Let's be
He
honest.
is. I think
so.
he's gotten it before, actually.
Yeah, I believe he has.
All right, so
Jonathan Banks too. I mean, he's fantastic. He's
Oh.
the dude in Better Call Saul.
Yeah.
He was also fantastic in Breaking Bad, of course.
Yep. So yeah, Jonathan Banks is. It's
a tough
great.
field.
It is. All right, just a couple of more here to round out just what our predictions are. Best supporting actress in a drama.
Yeah.
You've got Lena Headey.
I think it's going to be one of the Game of Thronesers. It's
Lena
going to
Headey,
either be
Amelia-
Lena Headey or Amelia Clarke.
What about Macy
I
Williams?
think. I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I just don't think she's prominent enough in the last season to make
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
We'll see.
But you think it'll be one of them then? Either
I
Lena
think
Headey
there's a
or-
good chance. I mean,
Amelia Clarke.
this is going for. I think this is taking from season 5, right?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think that's correct.
Yeah,
Anyway,
that's you're probably right. Yeah.
tough call.
Okay.
I'll go with Lena Headey.
We'll go with Lena Headey. Okay. Because I have to be able to grade you.
It's a
next week,
toss-up,
so-
man.
All right, you said Lena Headey. You're all in on Lena Headey.
All right. And then, there's a bunch of other categories. I think that People versus OJ is going to clean up because they have a fairly easy field. Not easy,
Yeah.
but they have a better field because it's a miniseries. So I think they're going to clean up. I think, yes, Sarah Paulson has a really good shot of winning in that category. So, yeah, People versus OJ overall, I think is going to take some serious awards
Okay.
just from the critical acclaim that it's gotten.
All right. Any final predictions that you want to make on any of these? Or
That's the best
about
I
it?
can do, man.
Okay, well, there it
I
is.
am not clairvoyant.
Keep your scorecard at home and definitely send Ryan an email and let him know as soon as if any of those predictions are
Yeah, or
incorrect.
just stop by the house. We'll put my address
Yeah,
down.
we'll put it up there. Come on over. Tell me what I did wrong.
Exactly.
All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning into the show. We really, really do appreciate it. We do the show every Friday at 2:30 p.m. Pacific time. 2 p.m. Pacific time. And we do it live on YouTube, and we love having you come in and join us and send us your comments. Comment on this video if you're watching it. If you're listening via podcast, fantastic. We do have an audio version too, so you can always listen to that and take it with you wherever you listen to podcasts or wherever you find podcasts. We should be there. And send us an email, podcast@digitaltrends.com, anytime you feel like it, and let us know what you think we could talk about. We mentioned the Between the Cracks segment. I think I've got to do one next week. Maybe we'll each do one next week. But it's a
sounds
fun
about
segment
right.
where
We'll bring it back.
Yeah, where we find a series that maybe you haven't heard of or doesn't get enough attention, and we showcase that to have you find something else that you can watch in all that world of streaming. So
There it is.
yeah, all right. Well,
See you watching Lethal Weapon.
Signing off. It is Belky and Larry. We will be back next week with another episode.
There it is.
Yeah.